Bonjour, this is Fabulously Delicious, the French food podcast. This is the podcast that's all about the cuisine that is said to have founded modern cooking. French ingredients and dishes have been the starting block for many of the world's best chefs and cooks. And on Fabulously Delicious, you'll learn all about those dishes and ingredients, as well as get to know more about fabulous French foodies. I'm your host, Andrew Pryor. Enchanté.
Enchanté.
My life changed when I competed on MasterChef Australia, and now I'm living my best life right here in the French countryside. Cooking, eating, meeting wonderful locals, food producers, chefs, home cooks, drinking amazing wines, eating some of the would you believe there's more than 1,500 French cheeses? Yum. And, of course, sharing these experiences with you, my fabulously delicious audience. I hope you're enjoying them. Today we are talking about the delicate and delicious world of a French dessert that's as elegant as it is indulgent. Named after the town of Dax in southwest France, this layered cake of almond and hazelnut meringue, whipped cream and buttery biscuit base has a fascinating history dating all the way back to the 17th century. We'll explore its origins, the story behind its royal debut, and how it has inspired countless variations in French patisserie. Sit back, turn the volume up. If you're not driving, pour yourself a glass of wine, break a baguette, add a bit of saucisson maybe, and some of that delicious cheese we talked about, and enjoy today's episode of Fabulously Delicious, Dacquoise. The Dacquoise, spelled D-A-C-Q-U-O-I-S-E, is a classic French cake that features delicate layers of nutty meringue, typically almond or hazelnut, combined with rich fillings like whipped cream or a buttercream even. It's often assembled on a butter biscuit base, giving it a satisfying crunch beneath the airy nutty layers. Interestingly, the term Dacquoise also refers to the nut meringue layer itself, adding a bit of that French linguistic complexity. Dacquoise holds a special place for me personally. It was one of the first cakes I learned to make during my patisserie course at Le Cordon Bleu in 2016. Over 3 months of studying, mastering the Dacquoise helped me understand the delicate art of layering flavors and textures, which is so integral to French desserts. The name Dacquoise comes from the French word Dacquoise, meaning from Dax, a charming town in southwest France in the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region, not far from the Spanish border. Dax itself has a fascinating history. In Roman times, it was celebrated for its public baths and natural thermal springs, turning it into a hub of wellness and relaxation. Although the original Roman baths are no longer in use, Dax remains a popular destination known for its thermal spas and also for producing the famous French brandy Armagnac in the surrounding area. The Dacquoise itself is said to have its roots going back to the 17th century. Clément Lassagne, a chef who served King Louis XIII, is credited with inventing the dessert. The story goes that King Louis wanted to celebrate the return from battle of Henry de la Tour, the Duke of Aquitaine. Clément was tasked with creating a unique dessert for the occasion, and he delivered a masterpiece. The original Dacquoise had 4 distinct layers: almond meringue, a ganache chocolate filling, crème Chantilly, and candied violets on the top. The cake was then cut into diamond-shaped pieces to symbolize the Aquitaine region, which is often referred to as the land of diamonds because of its prestige and historic wealth. The classic Dacquoise has inspired many variations and similar desserts over the years. One well-known variation is the Marjolaine, invented by the renowned chef Fernand Point, a legendary figure in French cuisine. The Marjolaine is a long rectangle cake featuring layers of almond and hazelnut meringue, similar to the Dacquoise. However, it's layered with a delicate chocolate buttercream instead, giving it a richer, deeper flavor. And another cake that's often compared to the Dacquoise is the Japonaise. Despite the name, the Japonaise is actually of Italian origin, not Japanese. Strange, that one. While it closely resembles the Dacquoise in its nut-based meringue layers, the Japonaise typically uses hazelnuts exclusively, and its structure and presentation have a slightly different flair. The Japonaise highlights how European culinary traditions can intermingle and inspire new generations of the classic. If you adore French food and want a deeper glimpse into my life as your host, Andrew Pryor, here in France, then you won't want to miss my Substack newsletter. As a subscriber, you'll gain exclusive access to delicious recipes, insightful reviews, and fascinating information about regional life here in France. And of course, my beloved second home, Paris. Whether you choose to join as a free or paid member, you'll also enjoy special offers only available to my newsletter community. Ready to savor all this goodness? Well, sign up via the link in the show notes for this episode, or you could visit andrewpryorfabulously.com. Let's embark on a delicious journey of France and French food together, shall we? Planning a trip to Paris, heading to Paris, or maybe you're one of the lucky ones already living there in this incredible city. I've been fortunate to call Paris home, and let's be honest, I've eaten my way through the city of lights, love, good food for you. Now I want to bring all that delicious experience straight to you, my fabulously delicious audience, because, well, if you're tuning in, I'm pretty sure you love French food and you might love Paris food as well. That's why I wrote my first book, Paris, a fabulous food guide to the world's most delicious city. In it, you'll find more than 380 hand-picked recommendations, from boulangeries to cozy cafes, indulgent chocolate shops, and exceptional fromageries, and also more than 170 must-visit restaurants. I've even included food streets, gourmet supply stores, wine bars, and so much more. This is a 2024 edition, actually soon to be updated for a 2025 one. So it has all up-to-date recommendations in it, so it's perfect for your next trip to Paris, if you're lucky enough to be going there. Or if you live there, well, even better. You can grab your copy on andrewpryorfabulously.com, where I offer a signed and gift package version. Or you can find it on Amazon, and there's even a Kindle version for quick access. Happy eating, and, of course, bon app. The Dacquoise's versatility allows for an array of flavors beyond the traditional almond and hazelnut. Some variations incorporate different nuts or flavoring components, allowing chefs to tailor the dessert to their regional ingredients or preferences. So, for instance, there's the Dacquoise au noix. This variation uses walnuts instead of the more traditional almonds, adding a slightly earthier and more robust flavor. Then there's the Dacquoise au praline, which is made with praline. This version introduces a delightful caramelized crunch to it, offering an added layer of sweetness. There's the Dacquoise Pistache, where pistachio nuts are swapped for the almonds or hazelnuts, leading a vibrant green color and a unique flavor profile that complements the creamy fillings inside. And then there's coffee variations. Some Dacquoise recipes include syrup to café, which is a coffee syrup, which soaks into the meringue layers and enhances the nutty notes. This is often paired with Chantilly coffee cream. This version brings a bittersweet twist to the traditional Dacquoise. These flavor combinations show that while the Dacquoise has a deep-rooted tradition, it remains a highly adaptable dessert, open to innovation while staying true to its core elements. Crafting a perfect Dacquoise requires precision, especially when making this nut meringue layers. The meringue is made by folding finely ground nuts, typically of mixed almonds or hazelnuts, as we said, into the stiffly beaten egg whites and sugar. This combination creates a light but stable structure that, when baked, gives a crisp, airy texture that is essential to a great Dacquoise. The next step involves layering the meringue with fillings such as whipped cream or a buttercream. The trick here is to achieve a balance. The meringue should remain crunchy, but it should also absorb just enough moisture from the filling to soften it slightly without losing its form. This delicate balance of textures, crisp meringue, creamy filling, and sometimes a firm biscuit base is what makes the Dacquoise such a memorable dessert. Whilst the Dacquoise may not be as universally recognized as the macaron or the eclair, it is highly regarded in France and amongst pastry chefs worldwide. Its layered construction and nutty flavor represent the French penchant for elegance in both taste and presentation. The Dacquoise is often enjoyed as a special occasion dessert, owing to the skill required to prepare it well. For those familiar with French pastry traditions, the Dacquoise is a testament to the legacy of French culinary ingenuity. It demonstrates the French love for desserts that combine texture, flavor, and visual appeal, and it continues to inspire modern interpretations. The Dacquoise may be rooted in tradition, but it's also a dessert that celebrates creativity. From its layered history in Dax to its many regional and modern variations, the Dacquoise is as dynamic as French pastry itself. Whether enjoyed in its original form or with a unique twist, the Dacquoise remains a true delight, a nutty, creamy and textural experience that embodies the sophistication, I'd say, of French desserts. So next time you find yourself in France or at a patisserie offering a Dacquoise, take a moment to appreciate the history, skill and the flavour that this dessert offers. It's more than just a cake, it's a piece of culinary art with centuries of tradition and creativity baked into each layer. I found this quote from Julia Child that I thought was apt for this episode. Julia once said, "A party without a cake? It's just a meeting." Join me for a delightful cooking adventure right here in Montmorillon. You'll stay in our charming townhouse in the heart of the town, and then it's time to roll up your sleeves and cook with me in my kitchen here at home. Enjoy an authentic French food experience that will tantalize your taste buds and create lasting memories. Ready to savor the flavors of France? Check out andrewpriorfabulously.com for more information on my Vienne residencies. I can't wait to welcome you. Fabulously Delicious is part of the Evergreen Podcast Network. If you love French history, you'll definitely want to check out some of my favorite shows on the network. First up, there's the French History Podcast, where Dr. Gary Jabreau takes you on a fascinating journey through events and people in France from 3 million years ago to the current present day. With his PhD in modern British and French history, Gary brings a wealth of knowledge and insight to every episode. Another gem is Le Siècle by David Montgomery, which dives deep into France's history from 1814 to 1914, a century marked by both turmoil and stagnation, revolution and industrialization, wealth and poverty, colonialism and sometimes even humiliation. It's a captivating exploration you won't want to miss. Explore these incredible shows and more episodes, of course, of Fabulously Delicious at evergreenpodcast.com. That's it for another episode of Season 4 of Fabulously Delicious. Had you heard of the Dacquoise before? What's the most fabulous thing that you learned from today's episode? Let me know by contacting me via Instagram. Slide into my DMs at Andrew Prior Fabulously, or you can email me on contact@andrewpriorfabulously.com. I love to chat with you all. We could have a chat about French pastries and cakes if you want. I love talking to people about food, and especially French food. Thank you for listening, and remember, you know what my motto is: whatever you do, do it fabulously. Merci beaucoup and bon app.